Hey everybody, Eric Brown, MOBO-Media, MOBO-Media, MOBO-Media. Hey, I always like to tell stories, man, about my experiences throughout my career, particularly in the military. Stories that people just they shake their head and they're like, what? So one day, I work flight line on the flight line. Air Force flight line, like I said in previous videos, that's where everything happens. You got all types of planes out there that are moving. It's very busy out there. You got helicopters, you got fighter jets, you got big transport planes, you got commercial planes, you got everything on the flight line. Everything is going on out there. And a very secure area. If you ain't supposed to be out there, you will get jacked up. I'm talking about with a rifle to your damn head because they take it very seriously out there. I never forget, man, one day I had to work a jet. When working a jet means that I had to support that jet by bringing equipment to the jet. I was driving that day, what you call a age delivery. So with my job, I was a mechanic, but sometimes you would have to do these side duties like take equipment to where it needs to go and everything, right? And I never forget, man, there was an aircraft called an F4 aircraft, and there was a brother, which shocked me that the brother was working on that was flying the plane. There was a pilot brother that was gonna be flying the F4, but before he did that, they had to do some maintenance and do some checks. And I never forget, man, I saw a young brother working on the rode by and I saw a young brother working on the landing gear, the front landing gear of the F4. He was down there doing something, probably changing out the struts or bearings. I don't know what he was doing, but he was trying to fix the front landing gear of the plane, the wheels, the front wheels. For anybody who don't know what I'm talking about, planes have a front wheel and they have two side wheels. So that front wheel, that's a very important wheel because without that, the plane will fall down. So he was fixing that. Okay, so now it came time to call the pilot out to the plane so that he can go on his training because they have to do a lot of training and take off and everything. So when they called the pilot out, I had to deliver equipment to the plane, and you have to sit there until the plane is good. They give the wave, and then the plane starts moving and it gets ready to take off. Yeah. Then you kind of back off. Well, what I did, I ended up going to get some food or something. I think I had some food with me or something, but I was holding off to eat it until the plane got in the air, until it took off. So I always parked where I could see the planes taking off, taking off right in front of me, taking off right. Man, I'll never forget, man. I'm sitting there, the same plane that I was delivered the equipment to, the same plane this guy was working on. I'm sitting there looking at this plane. It was at the end of the runway, and then it began to take off. They have to get going, and then they get airborne. Man, I will never forget. This plane went down the runway, and as soon as it started taking off, there was like an explosion. It was like a loud bang explosion. Oof. And I'm like, what the hell? And so the plane immediately started doing this. It started doing this, doing this. So it looked like one of the engines had went out. So for a lot of you that don't know, planes can't fly with one engine. They have a high level of training. There's certain things they can do to make it fly with one engine. Sounds weird when you have two engines, engine on the left, engine on the right, and they can fly with one engine. But the F4 was an old plane, and it was a workhorse. And so he took off, and I saw it. I saw this poof. It like one of the engines kind of exploded or something, man. So next thing I know, you get radio calls on the radio, chatter, everybody's going off, and the long story short, what happened was whatever that guy was doing with the front landing gear, when the pilot took off, that thing came apart. The landing gear came apart, and it went inside the engine. Screws and bolts went inside the engine. It doesn't take it. You can have a small washer that'll destroy an engine. I mean, a pebble, a rock. But these parts from the front landing gear went into the engine, and it just blew it. So now the decision was made. Okay, how the hell does this guy get this plane back down? Because they don't know if first of all, you got one engine, and you don't know if the landing gear is damaged enough the way he can't put it down safely. So there was a lot of chatter on the radio. So the plane it was just circling, not around us. It went out away from us because it was a dangerous situation because you don't know what's going to happen. So they took it out. So long story short, the decision was made out of safety for the pilot to ditch the plane. Now, ditching the plane means and ejecting means that you got a thing in the seat, you pull it, and it pushed him out the plane, and the plane goes and crashes. Poof. So what he did it safely though. He went into a rice paddy or something, a big field out there, and he ejected, poof, and went up. The plane goes down, poof, goes into the rice paddy, destroyed. I'm sitting there about an hour or two later. Next thing I know, I see a helicopter coming. Guess what the helicopter had? It had this plane, a big ass ball of just wrecked plane, man. And I was like, oh my goodness. But the pilot was safe. They did go out and rescue the pilot. But to see that, man, it did something to me. I was like, man, this is crazy. But the young man that was working on the plane, the front landing gear, man, he ended up catching hell, man. Man, he caught hell because they blamed it on him. Basically, they always blame it on the maintainer. They're not gonna blame it on the pilot. But in that situation, it obviously wasn't the pilot's fault. Something happened with that landing gear. But that guy caught hell, and that was a career ender for him, man. Something like that. But I never forget that, man. To see that plane take off, being next to it, next thing you know, they bring it back in the helicopter. It's just a big ball of metal, and they just put it right in the middle of the ramp over there. So some investigators to come and look at it. Man. That's one of those things that, like I told you, that PTSD is a lot of different things, and that's one of those things that you can never unsee something like that. Being that close. And keep in mind, I was very close to the plane. The flight, the runways is right there. I mean, probably hell, 40 feet in front of me, 50 feet, maybe a little further back, not too close. But I mean, you're right there. So to see something like that, man, it does something to you. But crazy story, crazy story. But that's the world we lived in when wearing a uniform. So with that, I'll end that story. And y'all take care until next time. MOBO-Media, Eric Brown. Y'all take care. Bye bye.